Hello, vinyl community. This is David Bianco back with you. Thank you for spending time with me. Well, this is kind of some breaking news. It's a MOFI update about a potential settlement in the first lawsuit that was filed. That's coming up next on Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion. Hello, vinyl community. So yes, this is another video involving MOFI. Guilty as charged. My channel started in March of 1st, actually 2022. And, the channel kind of putted along and, tried to get subscribers and all. But when the mobile fidelity digital step in their analog process became known and understood, and I released a few videos about this because I've been a collector of their product since 1977, that certainly was a shot in the arm to my channel, and that's kind of been my groove or my lane. And so I've followed up with many reviews. I certainly will call a good pressing, a great pressing. It doesn't matter. MOFI has some great pressings out there. They have some great pressings with digital steps in them, and a good record is a good record. The issue here, of course, has been the issue of transparency, where we didn't really recognize that there was digital involved in what we thought was an all analog process. Damn it! And so for me, that is really the topic matter related to MOFI. I still buy MOFI. I've still given good reviews to MOFI records subsequently, and will continue to do that when it's merited. And so I just want to be clear on that. I'm not here to bash MOFI. I'm not here to look at its underbelly. I'm here just to give you some information that is kind of breaking news. And it relates to one of the 5 lawsuits, the first of 5 lawsuits that came about in the Western District of Washington State in the United States in early August of 2022. And so a class action lawsuit means there's a class of people who have been harmed in some way. And in this case, it is the class of people who have bought their products that have a digital step in making the vinyl, when we thought actually it was an analog process from top to bottom, and it was not. So this lawsuit was filed early August, and then now on January 15, 2023, a proposed settlement is come out. And what I want to do is kind of share the content of that, just down to the how does it affect me, the consumer part. So that's what I'm going to share with you here, right out of the actual legal document. So let's dive right in here. So they start to talk about MOFI's marketing of these applicable records, and they talk about the fact that they sell it online to retail customers and wholesale and other retailers, and that Music Direct is also a primary retail and wholesaler directly of MOFI recordings, and they sell these applicable records. So what are the applicable records here? Well, what it says is between March 19th of 2007, which I am guessing may be the release date of Tiger Lily by Natalie Merchant, because I believe that's the first DSD-based vinyl record that was done based on the mastering chain information that I have been able to gather. From that date through approximately July 27, 2022, which I think was D-Day, when they had to fess up basically to this situation. They marketed and sold these vinyl records labeled as original master recordings. They're going to call them OMRs, or Ultra Disc One Steps, including without limitation the applicable records, meaning the ones in these date ranges. And in describing that, they were mastered from original recordings, and the plaintiffs in this case alleged that that was a misrepresentation, and people understood that it was an all analog mastering chain. And so this is kind of the basis for the actual litigation as it stands in the first place. So then they get down to talking about, the fact they said, well, they deny all such allegations, of course, MOFI's position. The class members here what is involved in the scope of this particular lawsuit. And in this case, it's a class action, meaning multiple people were involved with it and had some form of loss. So they provided sales data showing that there's approximately 123 of these original master recordings or one steps that are applicable, meaning they are ones with a digital step in there, according to Jim Davis. And it shows that they sold over 630,000 OMRs and one-step applicable records during this time period that was spoke of a minute ago. And they say that 1/4 of those were sent to retail customers through their retail channel, which would be basically Music Direct and MOFI.com. Then 3/4 were sold wholesale by defendants to distributors, who then sold them to retailers and independent record stores like the InGroove in Phoenix, Arizona. Mike Esposito, the guy who actually did the interview with the engineers that kind of broke the logjam on this issue. And so they're kind of saying, well, this is how we market and product our record, sell our product. These records go through these channels. And so they're saying it's difficult to estimate the potential class size. They said that MOFI estimates that the proposed class is comprised of at least 20,000 direct purchasers and 20,000 indirect purchasers, which is interesting considering the ratio was, 25% for their direct sales and then 75% otherwise. So I guess all I can maybe presume is that they feel that those who are direct buyers are going to be more engaged in wanting some restitution on this. I'm not sure, but that ratio just doesn't quite line up to the previous statement. So it talks about the procedures and when this was filed, and that there's other lawsuits. You see the 4 others here. None of these cases that are listed had been consolidated or certified for class treatment, and no class counsel has been appointed. So those are in limbo, I guess, more or less. So the terms here, what's going to happen? Well, the settlement class is comprised of all persons in the United States, who from March 19, 2007 to July 27, 2022, that window we just talked about, purchased either directly from MOFI or directly from retail merchants, new and unused vinyl recordings. Not secondhand, not used, but new, sealed, unused vinyl records that were sourced from original master tapes that were analog, but utilized a digital stream transfer in the mastering chain. And which were marketed as either original master recordings or as UltraDisc one steps. Now, what's interesting to this is you realize some of the records that they have say Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab on the actual top banner. So I wonder, about those. I'm guessing those aren't in this suit based on what I'm reading. And they had digital steps obviously in them too. And I guess they're thinking because those Mobile Fidelity Sound Lab headings were ones where the reason for that was we didn't know if we had the original master tape. They're figuring, and they were less expensive, that they're not in this scope. Now, we'll see if the defendants, the plaintiffs, kick this back and want those included. Okay, so again, they identified approximately 123 applicable records, although they are continuing their investigation, and more albums may be identified prior to notice publication, meaning this is a proposal, and until it is approved by the court and approved by the defendants and everybody's good with it, then Mobile Fidelity would come out with an actual list, and here's what we're going to offer. They may come up, that list may have a few more things on it, because I don't know, they must not have all the due diligence done, or they're just kind of covering, something that might show up at the last minute. Okay. And again, the settlement's only structured to affect the rights of purchasers of specific albums, not all defendants, customers generally. I'm sure there's good reason for saying that, right? And again, it says they think it's about 40,000 individual purchasers. So what do you get? What's going to happen? Well, They say under the terms, the MOFI agrees to pay the class members in the following potentially 3 different ways, 3 approaches to relief. First, for individuals who want to return their applicable records, the class members, the people who have been harmed, will receive a full refund, including associated taxes and shipping. So if you don't want it anymore, you can return it. And of course, I'm assuming this means you've played it, and you will get the original purchase price of that and the taxes and shipping for it. So you get a refund, I guess is the way to put it. For those who want to keep the applicable records, they can elect to either receive a refund payment of 5% of the record's original purchase price and associated taxes and shipping in the form of a check or electronic payment. So if you're saying, I want to keep it, and what they're saying is, okay, the record really, has like 5% less value because it has a digital step in it. We'll give you 5% back on any ones that you keep that are in the in this 123 record list. Or the last item is you can receive a coupon in the amount of 10% of the record's original purchase price for making additional retail purchases at MOFI or Music Direct. And they say that the total gross value of the available relief they think is about over $25 million. So there's a lot of blah, blah, blah after this about how long they can be held accountable, and if people don't make claims, what's going to happen, and that I'm sure would be spelled out. But that is, in fact, what is the scope. You'll see here that the election to receive a full or partial refund or coupon will be available who do not opt out of settlement and submit valid proof of purchase and payment. Class members will get 180 days from notice publication to submit a valid claim in order to receive compensation. So you basically have 6 months to submit that. If a settlement receives final approval, qualified members will receive their payments from the settlement administrator within 45 days after the expiration for the period to appeal, or any appeal affirming final approval of the settlement becomes final. So there are just some dates there, but basically you have 6 months to make a claim. So this is the meat and potatoes of this proposed settlement. So that's the latest from Legal Land. What do you think? I mean, if you don't like the record you have and you want to turn it back in and get a full refund, including shipping and taxes, there you go. I think that's a fairly decent deal, because some of these records, even sealed, you can't get what you paid for them on Discogs, as I see it. Now, the 5%, if you hold on to it for the loss of value, doesn't seem quite up to speed related to the loss of value that the records seem to have had that have these digital steps, at least some of them. So that may be a little questionable. And this whole idea of coupons to buy more stuff from them, courts don't look on that too kindly, actually. It's a little bit of a sleight of hand in a way when you think about it. So maybe they scrub that and they go back and say that 5% needs a bump for those who keep the records. So this is the proposed settlement. It'll go through some back and forth, I'm sure, before it gets nailed down. But it does give us a sense of where things are headed. The constraint about those people who purchased in the United States, I see that as and it may be because the lawsuits in the U.S. that can only apply to them, but then that may imply that there may be suits from other places potentially. But I'm sure the sales of those aren't nearly as large, obviously, as the interior United States purchases for these products that are made in America. So as always, if you would subscribe to the channel and click that bell, a black one gets you all notifications. Thank you much. Thumbs up on the videos appreciated. And I really would like comments on this. What do you think? Is it a good deal? Is it a stinker? Did you expect more? Do you want more? Where do you stand on the topic? But at least now we have some idea, and I wanted to bring you this kind of breaking news because it's more or less hot off the press. As always, thank you for joining me today for this Safe and Sound Texas audio excursion, legal style. Take care, everybody.